All right, guys, let's cut straight to the point. You've probably wondered this before: should you actually masturbate every single day if you want better sexual health? Some people will tell you it's completely healthy, others swear it's a dangerous habit. The truth? It's not as black and white as you think, and the real answer might actually surprise you. So here's what we're going to do in this video. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to break it all down in a way that finally makes sense. We'll look at what happens in your body right after you do it, how it affects your hormones, your mood, your erections, and even your long-term performance in the bedroom. We'll talk about when it can be beneficial, when it crosses the line, and what signs you need to pay attention to. But here's the key part. If you stay with me all the way to the end, I'm going to give you 3 simple rules you can test on yourself over the next 30 days. No theory, no fluff. Just a practical way to figure out the right frequency for you, not what some random expert says, not what your buddy told you, but what actually works for your own body. So before you jump to any conclusions, let's go deeper. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have a clear plan that can improve your sexual health and maybe even your overall confidence. Let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about what actually happens inside your body when you masturbate. A lot of guys think it's just about release, but the truth is, your body is running a full-on chemical show every single time. Right after you start, your brain kicks in by releasing dopamine. That's the reward chemical that makes you feel pleasure and satisfaction. Along with that comes oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds people during sex, or even when you hug someone you love. That's why many guys feel relaxed, less stressed, or even a little more connected to themselves afterward. Then there's the flip side, prolactin. This hormone shoots up right after orgasm and is basically your body's way of saying, okay, time to rest. It's what causes that refractory period, the downtime when you just don't feel like going again. Some guys worry this means their testosterone is dropping, but here's the good news. There's no solid evidence that masturbating, even daily, lowers your long-term testosterone. Most of these hormonal shifts are short-term and your levels bounce back quickly. And don't forget about your nervous system. For many, orgasm acts like hitting the reset button. Heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, muscles relax. That's why so many men say they sleep better after they've done it. So from a pure biology standpoint, masturbation is a normal, temporary reset for your body. But does that mean doing it every day is automatically a good idea? Not necessarily. Let's dig into that in the next part. All right, so now that we know what's going on inside your body, let's answer the big question. Should you actually be doing this every single day? Here's the truth. There isn't a magic number that works for everyone. Science doesn't say, yep, daily is perfect, or nope, once a week only. What the research actually shows is that the right frequency depends entirely on you, your body, your lifestyle, and your goals. For some men, daily masturbation feels great. They are more relaxed, less stressed, they sleep better, and it doesn't affect their relationships or their energy levels. For others, doing it too often can lead to problems like reduced motivation, soreness, or even less interest in real intimacy. So instead of asking, is daily good or bad, a better question is, how do I know if it's working for me? And that's where 3 simple checkpoints come in. Number 1, it's not interfering with your daily life, meaning your work, your focus, or your social life. Number 2, you're not experiencing pain, irritation, or decreased sensitivity. And number 3, it leaves you feeling better overall, calmer, more energized, not drained. If you can check all 3 boxes, daily might be fine for you. If not, it could be a sign that you need to dial it back. The key is self-awareness, not sticking to someone else's rulebook. But here's where it gets even trickier. Your mind plays just as big a role as your body. Let's dive into the psychological side next. Now let's switch gears and talk about the mental side of this, because masturbation isn't just about your body, it's about your headspace too. For a lot of guys, it's a quick way to blow off steam, reduce stress, or even help with sleep. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. It can be a healthy tool, kind of like hitting the gym or going for a run to clear your mind. But here's the catch. When masturbation becomes your only way of dealing with emotions like stress, boredom, or loneliness, it can turn into a crutch. Instead of facing what's really going on in your life, you're just numbing it for a few minutes. And over time, that can backfire, leaving you feeling more stuck, more isolated, and less motivated. Another big factor is guilt and shame. Depending on how you grew up or what messages you heard about sex, some men feel guilty after they do it. That guilt can be more damaging than the act itself, because it creates a cycle of stress, shame, and secrecy. And of course, we can't ignore the role of pornography. If you're relying heavily on porn every time, it can reshape your expectations of sex and relationships. Real intimacy doesn't look like a porn scene, and when your brain gets used to extreme stimulation, it can make regular sex feel less exciting. So yeah, masturbation can be healthy, but the context matters. And when it comes to sexual performance, this is where things get really interesting. Let's get into that next. Let's get real for a second. A lot of guys secretly wonder if masturbation is helping or hurting their performance in the bedroom. The answer is, it can do both, depending on how you approach it. On the positive side, masturbation can actually be used as practice. Some men who struggle with premature ejaculation find that learning to control their arousal while masturbating helps them last longer with a partner. It's like training your body to recognize the signals and delay the finish line. Done with awareness, it can build confidence and control. But here's where things can get tricky. If you're constantly watching extreme porn or using very specific methods of stimulation, your brain and body can start to adapt to that, and only that. When you're with a real partner, things may feel different or less intense, which can lead to problems like difficulty maintaining an erection or trouble finishing. Basically, you've trained yourself for one environment, and it doesn't always translate. Another factor is frequency. Doing it multiple times a day can leave you feeling drained, make erections weaker for a while, and extend your refractory period, the recovery time before you can go again. That doesn't mean daily is harmful, but pushing beyond your body's natural limits can temporarily dull your performance. So yes, masturbation can be a tool to improve your sex life. But it can also set you back if it turns into a habit that doesn't match real-life intimacy. Which brings us to something every guy needs, some practical ground rules. All right, so how do you actually make masturbation work for you instead of against you? The key is setting a few simple ground rules. Nothing complicated, just practical habits you can follow so it stays healthy and balanced. First, hygiene. This sounds obvious, but a lot of guys skip it. Wash your hands before and after, and if you're using any kind of lube, stick with something safe for your skin. Friction injuries are more common than you think, and they're totally avoidable. Second, time and place. If you notice it's creeping into moments when you're bored, stressed, or procrastinating, that's a red flag. Keep it intentional, not just automatic. Think of it like snacking. A treat is fine, but mindless grazing all day, not so much. Third, porn awareness. Porn isn't automatically bad, but heavy use can rewire your brain. If you feel like you can't get aroused without it, or your expectations for real sex start to feel unrealistic, that's your cue to cut back. Try going without for a week or two and see how your body responds. Finally, track how it makes you feel. Take 7 days and keep a simple log: energy levels, mood, sleep quality, and performance. If daily works and you feel great, awesome. If you notice you're more tired, less motivated, or less excited during real intimacy, that's feedback to scale it down. The point isn't to stop. It's to find a rhythm that supports your health and your sex life. And if things still don't feel right, that's when it might be time to get some outside help. Here's the thing, for most guys, masturbation is totally normal and nothing to stress about. But there are times when it becomes a problem, and that's when you've got to pay attention. One red flag is loss of control. If you keep telling yourself you'll cut back, but you can't, and it's interfering with your daily life, that's not just a habit anymore, that's a compulsion. Another warning sign is physical pain or irritation. If you're constantly sore or struggling with sensitivity issues, your body's telling you to stop ignoring it. Performance problems are another big one. If you notice it's harder to get or maintain an erection with a partner, or you're having trouble finishing during sex, that's not something to brush off. It could be tied to your habits, or it could be a medical issue like low testosterone, nerve problems, or even circulation issues. And finally, watch the mental side. If you feel ashamed, anxious, or depressed afterward, or you're hiding it in a way that creates tension in your relationship, it might be time to talk to someone. The good news? You don't have to figure this out alone. Start with your primary care doctor or see a urologist who specializes in men's health. Therapists who work with sexual health can also help you break patterns and rebuild confidence. Bottom line, if masturbation is controlling you instead of you controlling it, that's your signal to reach out. And before we wrap up, let's finish strong with the 3 simple rules you can use right now to test what's right for you. So let's bring this all together. Masturbation is a normal part of men's health. For some, doing it daily feels perfectly fine. It relieves stress, helps with sleep, and doesn't interfere with life. For others, daily can tip over into feeling drained, distracted, or disconnected. The point is, there's no universal right number. What matters is how it impacts you. That's why I want to leave you with 3 simple rules you can actually test on yourself over the next 30 days. Think of it as a personal experiment, no judgment, just data. Rule number 1, the 7-day check-in. Stick with your current routine for 1 week, then rate 3 things each night: your mood, your sleep, and your erection quality on a scale of 1 to 5. If 2 out of 3 start slipping, it's time to adjust. Rule number 2, the porn reset. If you rely on porn every single time, take a 14-day break and see how your body responds. Many men are surprised at how much sensitivity and excitement they get back with a partner when they cut down. Rule number 3, controlled practice. Once or twice a week, treat masturbation like training. Focus on slowing down, recognizing your body's signals, and practicing control. That way, you're not just releasing tension, you're building sexual stamina. At the end of the day, this is about balance, not restriction. Use these rules, pay attention to your results, and you'll find the rhythm that truly works for you. And if you learned something today, drop a comment and tell me which rule you're going to try first.